Kicking off Throwin Sliders Season 3 and Scrubbin' Tires Media Season 6 tonight. If you missed us, we're back. We're back again for another episode of the Throwin Sliders podcast, episode 56, Cranking Them Up, official season 3 kickoff. Throwin Sliders podcast is part of the Scrubbin' Tires Media and the #1 racing podcast in Colorado. Thank you all for making that happen, especially to our every weekers. We appreciate you. Sorry, we're a little rusty kicking it off tonight. I'm your host, Brandon Hall, and to my right is Mr. Blair Cooper, the driver of the number 32 ASCS Sprint car. So let's jump right into it. And this episode is brought to you by Hoosier of the Rockies. If you're serious about performance, whether that's on the track or off-road, you already know having the right components and having them readily available is crucial. And that's exactly where Hoosier of the Rockies comes in. They are the official Hoosier tire dealer of Colorado, which makes it incredibly convenient for local racers to get the tires and supplies they need without the hassle of waiting or traveling out of state. What really sets them apart, though, is that they're not just your typical brick and mortar shop. They're right there in the action, trackside supporting racers when it counts most. Whether you need fresh tires between sessions or race weekends, fuel to keep you running, or critical components like radius rods, rod ends, wheels, and more, they've got you covered right then and there. Don't have what you're looking for? No problem. They can also order you and your team just about anything they stock in various sizes, colors, and specifications. Just let them know. That kind of support can make or break a race weekend, and it's why so many drivers trust them when it matters most. On top of that, Mark and Samantha Hamilton of Hamilton Motorsports bring real experience and passion to everything they do. They understand the demands of racing because they live it, and they're always ready with the right recommendations to keep you performing at your best. They race, you race, so let's race together. If you're looking to stay competitive and fully supported on or off the track, check out Hoosier of the Rockies and see why racers across the region rely on them. Call 303-632-6360. Visit them on Facebook, Hamilton Motorsports Racing, or stopping by locally in Arvada, Colorado. Hoosier of the Rockies and Hamilton Motorsports, a proud partner of Scrubbin' Tires Media and the Throwin Sliders podcast. Well, damn, show's over. That's a badass way to open up a show, if I'd say so myself.
That was better than anything we're going to do on here tonight. So we can
thanks for joining all 12 of you, and we got a like there. So that's it. No, thank you to Mark and Samantha Hamilton. Obviously, as you guys know, last season kind of were in the works of getting them on board here and over the off season, and realistically at the trade show, we made it happen. So that was a 11 p.m. edit of an ad that I put together over Easter weekend. So thank you, Mark. You rock. So like the video said, as you guys have seen across the tracks, bringing that beautiful, I think it's a 350. Is that a 350 in the trailer?
That's track.
Yeah, beautiful rig. Got everything you could want. So definitely hit them up. But yeah, we thank you for their partnership this year, and we're looking forward to it. I've done a shit ton of talking already, so I'm going to pass to Blair. Let's get into a little bit, since it's kind of the off season, flowing straight into the race season this past weekend. What were you doing over the off season? I know I know what you were doing, but for the viewers, share a little bit.
Well, I mean, it was the end of last season, we've talked about it before. I junked a chassis in Gillette. We had 3 races, so we pretty much built the car in 2.5 days, got it out on the road, had some bugs in it. You went to that show at Callahan, we missed the show there. But anyways, we basically decided to start over. The only thing still not brand new on the car was rear end, steering gear, and the engine. Got it back from fresh, and so it's basically, it's new, ready to go. But other than that, we did a lot of stuff a little bit different, just trying different things. I hard lined the brake lines all the way to the whips. Talked to some guys about pressure loss, stuff like that. And just, it's the little details when you have time to work on the car. Really try to make things better, switch some stuff up maybe for cost effectiveness and also performance. Went from titanium brakes to stainless on the rear, left titanium on the front, kind of like that feel.
Right?
Yeah. So yeah, that didn't work out too well, but just stuff like that. So I mean, put a lot of time and detail into the car, and kind of all for nothing this weekend. We can get into that, but other than that, just how it is. It's getting spares built, stuff like that. So
got a new wrap, looking good.
Yeah, wrap the car. That's it did.
We've got stickers too. We're on a race car. It only took us. Well, I guess the wrap behind me, I did have the old logo, but the new logo is officially on a race car. So. Yeah,
we've got a big one too. I might be covering up all the wrap that got burned. So until he sends me another piece with the header pressed up against the body, it just torched it. I was like, oh, geez.
Yeah, just anytime you have a boo-boo, just put the Throwin Sliders logo over it.
Yeah, just giant sticks, just going to be all patched up. But yeah, so it was funny though when you were mentioning when we were talking about at the beginning, I had a little story to tell about Hamilton's. So I'm working on the car. We're thrashing, right? We had a couple problems with brake sticking in hot laps. Other than that, the car felt pretty good. So I'm like, well, let's focus on that. So we get in, and I'm starting to work on bar adjustments and stuff as the track's changing. And Tara goes, hey, go help Sam. She's got a drum of fuel. And I said, I'll get over there in a minute. I figured she was unloading it off the, or her and Mark or anything. Well, I turn and Tara goes, now. And I was like, oh shit, she don't talk to me that way, And so I see coming halfway across the pits, Sam's got a 55-gallon drum and is pushing it through the soft dirt and I was like, now that's the service I like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, commitment.
I had to go run, and I didn't catch her very far, but then we all made sure we gave Mark hell about not dragging the drum over, and I guess he'd offered, but we all gave him a hard time, so that was pretty funny. But trackside service, man, I always appreciate it. So they've been helping us out a bunch. But so anyway, that was my start to the day, and the off season. You know me, I try to work on stuff. I think we had the conversation that if I had 9 months off, I could work on the car all 9 months, or just I don't know. I don't even. Sometimes I'm like, it's not a complicated car. It's not like a super late model or an Indy car. I mean, they're pretty simple machines. I don't know how I can keep jacking with stuff.
Speak for yourself, but yeah.
Yeah. So, that's kind of what we do. If I had a year to work on it, I'd just keep going. But I don't actually, sometimes I look back, I'm like, I don't know what I did. And then half the shit I did didn't work. So
yeah. Well, when you're working on stuff at 2 a.m., you get a little delusional and lose track of time too. So I feel like every other day that I would hit up Blair in the off season, he's like, oh, I've, worked till 3 a.m. thrashing on the car. I don't even know what my name is, what day it is, but it's just part of it. So I unfortunately don't get to go through that anymore, but
the baby's probably still harder.
Yeah, I last year, coming into the podcast season, we did a few iRaces, and I'll tell you what, this hog sitting next to me, I haven't even fired it up. Like, I thought having a 1-year-old was difficult, but when they start to get mobile and just are like in one place for 3 seconds, and then that I don't have any excuses, but I didn't do a whole heck of a lot over the off season except for kind of get some stuff going for this. Chased around a soon to be 2-year-old, but nevertheless, still. And I was going to actually share this too. Like, even after, and Tara can attest to this, even after you put him down, which my wife is currently doing right now, you like so, I guess, exhausted from work and working out or whatever you do all day. And then when it hits that time and they're down, you're just like, I just want to lay in bed. And I'll tell you what, I have not, and you know me, I'm an avid high limit racing fan. I have not watched an actual live event all season. They've probably put 6, 7, 8 races up. I'll only watch the highlights. And I'm just like, man, I got to get out of this. Like 8 o'clock, I'm in bed because I'm only about to be 33. I feel like I know what I did over the off season. I slept a lot, but I'm out of hibernation now. So anyway, let's get right into it. So we had the opening race for Paso County, and we can kind of go into a little bit more. It was kind of news to me about Sammy not coming, but Blair will mention that. But we will give the winners. We're kind of going to try to do that throughout the season, just announce the winners of a specific racetrack. Obviously, this past weekend was El Paso, so we'll get the winners highlighted here on the show. But Blair, take us through everything for the sprint car race. I saw an interview with Bradley Cox. Seemed like there was some shenanigans going on there. Just walk us through it.
Well, man, it was a wild one for a season.
Whose comment were you reporting?
My wife's. So she said she's taking care of me like a baby.
Oh,
and turn the air conditioner down. It's hot in here. I got a long sleeve on. But anyway, she's downstairs listening. Yeah, for a season opener, you generally, most races, I feel like season opener, there's a little bit of a grace period where guys are really trying hard not to tear stuff up. But the combination of how things played out, I think 7 cars that were, probably most of the front running cars and just got tore up. The track conditions changed a little bit. We've even been warned, they're fighting water restrictions this year. Tracks are probably going to be a little bit dry slick. And Callahan, it's generally to the bottom, or if you get it really wet and heavy, you might be able to get 2 grooves, or you get a whole mixed bag there. But it was really to the top. And when it goes to the top there's no cushion per se to back up to. There was some moisture to back into. But guys maybe would try to run up there. And if you hit the marbles or crumbs, it would send them flying. So I think a few guys flipped. I know Blurton was leading for a while. He flipped out. He got into the back of a car and then it tipped him over. Gossel, Austin, a lot of national tour guys. I think there were 6 full-time guys there, 6 or 7 or something like that. So yeah, pretty good show. They were off, so they were able to come down and run. But yeah, I got up towards the wall, and that place just doesn't have a ton of grip no matter what, even with the wing, but you could carry quite a bit of speed in. And then I think guys got in trouble center, about the center or off. So yeah, they tore up some cars, but, pretty good racing all around. I actually did get to watch a couple other features. As far as sprint car goes, shout out Adam Trimble. He got the win again, so good season opener for them. He's been on the pod. I'm sure we'll talk to him again this season with Mateka Hefner Racing. So they're kind of starting off strong, but I think he was running, maybe top 3. I didn't really get to see much of that up there. But then, yeah, I think at one point, maybe 2 of the leaders got wiped out or something like that. But yeah, pretty wild night. And then, yeah, Sammy will be coming back, I guess, May 5th or something, May 2nd to run. I don't know if it was weather they were worried about. Colorado, the first week of April can be dicey.
Supposed to snow.
Yeah, that was the original forecast. So I'm guessing that. I didn't get to ask, but I'm assuming that's what it was. And then, as far as that went, it just wasn't. It was like it was a really nice day. I put on my jacket probably 6 times and took it off 6 times, pulled up my race suit. And so the weather was kind of a mixed bag, but it was actually a pretty nice day. So crowd was pretty good size. I was, glad to see that. But yeah, that was basically, that was really it. Guys either hit the wall, spun around, or, if you were Trimble, you drove through it and had a good night.
Yeah, definitely. What, obviously, I don't know. I saw your roughTruck.com race recap, but I don't think it quite painted the whole picture for the kind of night you had. So you mind going into that?
Yeah, my wife, she writes, though. She doesn't quite have the flair for the dramatic that I do. So, but yeah, it was really funny when I don't know. Like I said, I'd worked on the car so much. I thought everything was going to be absolutely perfect. We fired it up. The first time I pushed the car off with the engine, it took about 25 feet full oil pressure through the switch and bang, it was on. Brakes felt good. We tested everything, slid the wing back, bled it, stuff like that. No problems. We get to the track, we unload. I go out to roll in the track, and I'm like, wow, these new pads smell extremely hot. I'm like, well, I'm bedding them a little bit, but just real soft. And I thought they'll be okay. We pull into the pits, and we couldn't even move the axle. It was so locked up. So luckily, Brett Peel was there. He was helping Keaton, and he came over, and he was helping. He's like, I think the brakes are locked up, because here's the other part. I kind of screwed up. I put a new shifter in the car, and I went to lock it in gear. Well, it did lock and engage, but in my head, I looked over when we were pulling off, and it wasn't all the way down. And I thought, oh shit, I just broke the rear or something in the rear end, but it was engaged anyway. So they finally said, no, the brakes are literally won't let you push through the car. So we bled them again just to check them. Fluid shot all over the new paint and back of my seat. So at least we knew they were working. Unstuck, go out for the heat race, start third, and it kind of happened a couple times where they got sticky, but I was able to drive it. Car felt really good. I just kind of tiptoeing around. The wing stopped working. I think I blew a seal out of the wing cylinder because I got the post got turned just a little bit and put an edge on the inside of the wing. So I was like, well, okay, I don't have wing movement now. But yeah, really pretty good. Started third, finished third. And then when we go to the feature, we thought everything was fine, had it all fixed, and then absolutely nothing worked. And I got into the redraw and started 5th, and we took we went around for a pace lap, and I was like, man, I know this track slicked off. The car feels really good. You can usually even just tell when we're pacing and clearing the motor out and heating the tires up. I'm like, oh, this thing's going to stick pretty good. I'm going forward. I really thought I'm going forward. Well, we go to line up and the brakes drag so hard that it's actually pulling the motor down. I had to open up the fuel and carry RPM. I'm like, these guys behind me are going to just roll right over me if I don't get this thing wound up. Well, it about did it. I think I lost 4 spots as soon as they threw the green, because I thought, well, I got the motor up on the cam so that it would start making real horsepower when they threw the green. And I thought, if I carry all this down into one and the brakes don't work at all, I'm going to just wipe out the whole field like you saw at Port Royal on Saturday or something. There was a race that, they wrecked everybody behind top 3. And so I thought, don't do that. The car's good enough. If I have to make it back up through traffic, I think we'll be fine. And it just kept going downhill from there. And luckily, with the wing not working, we said, screw it, and just put as much angle as we could legally get in it and left it there. I'm like, car will be balanced at least. And the car felt good. It just was like, I could felt like you were dragging a leg behind it on the left rear. Mm-hmm. Well, the funny thing is when the track goes to the top like that, now I've got to make a decision how hard I actually drive it into the moisture. And so I went around and I could smell the brakes, and I'm like, oh, the pedal went to the floor. And then I'd get halfway, like almost to the apex, and the left front would grab just a little bit. And it would kind of give the car this. So I started being like, shit, I'm gonna have to start cheating the moisture. So I'd kind of slide to it and try to back up into it, because I'm like, if I just don't have brakes, I'm gonna plow the fence down. And Callahan's so short, you're not really cooking, but it's like if you hit the wall 80 miles an hour, it's still not fun.
Yeah. Especially on night 1.
Yeah, it's like, don't do that. So I kind of started losing some ground, and then we ran, I think, about lap 12. I was like, man, I'm starting to actually just go through where the brakes are liquid. It just felt like liquid. I'm like, there's enough moisture I can back up to it. And a couple cars in front of me, I started catching them again. I'm like, well, I guess we'll just keep trying. And it's like I started to make up a little ground, and then the freeze plugs blew. That was from.
Is there anything that didn't happen on night 1?
No, I don't think so. That's like I talked on the phone today. A couple people call. I'm like, I think sometimes I'm either cursed at Callahan and something like that. I don't have these problems on the road generally, knock on wood, but
right.
It's just a weird deal. But you know what? It was still actually a fun night. So it was like, some nights you have everything go wrong. You're like, just put that one in the trash and walk away from it. But no, this one was it was a fun night. So besides, I hated guys seeing their cars tore up first night.
Yeah. And I wanted to highlight, which shout out to Bradley Cox. I don't know how often, interviews like that at a local show, but I think it's cool just to, their own racing pages. It's not affiliated by Flow or Dirt Vision or something, but I think it's cool when racers who have a social media page kind of get on there. Like, you hear all the time, or you see all the time, if you watch national racing of any kind, like the reporters are sticking a microphone right in their face, which is great for racing because you get the raw emotion. You get, sometimes it goes bad for those guys depending on what they say, but in any case, I thought Bradley did a fantastic job in that interview, kind of showing the damage and just walking through what happened. Obviously, didn't throw any shade to Brian or anything like that.
Yeah,
just said, hey,
shit happens.
It is what it is. And so I from someone that couldn't be there watching it, I thought that was really cool to watch that interview. So hopefully more drivers hear that have their own social media pages and can take the time to do that, because that's pretty cool insight that you don't really get at a local scene. But anyway, take us through, I guess, did you see that wreck happen? It seemed pretty.
A little bit. I went driving through. There was just parts scattered everywhere. So we're just trying to, it scattered him. It looked like his chassis was sitting on the ground.
I believe was it the right rear was from the video.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like driving by it. I just kept actually trying to look at all the debris so I didn't poke a tire or something. But I was Brian's car.
That's what Mark and Sam are for.
Yeah, he was just fighting loose, I think, because that's what happened. We went in and he got by me, and he went in there and chased it up onto the moisture. And we even talked after. He said he just missed a little bit, and that it poked. So we made contact, and I thought, oh, no big deal. Well, it actually it didn't hit me hard at all. It just collapsed my header, and I kept going. it wasn't like anything major, but it pushed the header flat against the body. And so I went about 3 laps like that. And then that's, but it was kind of funny. I was like, oh, we barely touched. No, nothing wrong. Keep going. But yeah, he was just fighting loose. But yeah, I think everybody in this series, and when you race with guys that much, everybody's pretty respectful. I mean, generally, it's very rare to see something intentional with guys like that. We're all kind of a big family. I mean, some guys like each other more than others, and some guys don't like each other. But I don't see much of that in the open wheel space like I did on asphalt.
Oh, yeah.
Or,
you can't really.
That's not the same.
You can't really get somebody back in open wheel
and if you do, your chances of destroying your own stuff are extreme. Consequences are high.
Like you can't just use them as the brake or give them a little love tap into the corner. Like it could be detrimental to your own race. So I would agree with that. But
short tracks definitely rougher. You get on the big tracks, that's not such a thing. But I know guys give you shots and stuff, but it's not usually like trying to climb you. If you do, you're pissed off.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, hats off to Bradley again, not to beat a dead horse there, but that was super cool. And, hopefully we can get more of that. And I think it's just good for the sport to kind of see those interviews and stuff like that. Don't have anybody walking around with a microphone per se, but maybe that's what I could do when I'm not chasing around a 2-year-old. But yeah, I see the winners on here. So I guess before we do that, we'll give another shout out to one of our other sponsors, Mountain Ops, back again for this season. You guys have heard it, seen it, got the flyers. If you guys were there at the trade show, TSP or TS podcast rather, for 20% off your order, anytime, anywhere. Just plug that in. You get a little discount on us for being avid listeners, fans of the show. We appreciate their support and appreciate your support, kind of supporting both of us. So without further ado, and then we'll get right into the race winners of El Paso County. Whether you're chasing checkered flags, chasing elk in the mountains, casting a line, or crushing early morning workouts in the gym, there's one name every high performer should know: Mountain Ops. This team fuels athletes, hunters, racers, and weekend warriors with the cleanest, hardest-hitting supplements on the market. Let's be honest, this sport isn't for the soft. Late nights in the garage, long drives to the track, and hot evenings in the pits and in the car. We are built different. That's why we run on Mountain Ops. Their supplements hit hard, feel clean, and don't have all that junk you can't pronounce. From early mornings to late nights on race day, this is the stuff that keeps the crew moving and ready for the next lap. Want in? Head to mtnops.com, enter code TSPodcast at checkout, and get 20% off your order. That's right, enter code TSPODCAST at checkout for 20% off your order. You don't just want to show up, you want to win. Fuel like you mean it. Winners use Mountain Ops. Proud supporting partner of the Throwin Sliders podcast. There we go. Appreciate Mountain Ops as always. I feel like half my closet is their apparel now, which is not a bad thing. But you made it when you're like, hey, I want a new shirt. And you're like, oh, well, I have these boxes and all that stuff of clothes. Anyway, perks of being on a podcast, I suppose. Speaking of
new clothes, there was one thing I forgot. So I had gotten around. I didn't get to talk to him a whole lot, but Gary Land, he's been on the show before.
Sure.
Good buddy of mine now. He just always makes me laugh. But there was a point in the race where he was struggling even more than, I don't know what he had going on, but he was having a rough night. So he's basically just logging laps around the bottom, staying out everybody's way. Well, I came off the corner and got the car pointed straight early. And I had a decision to make because without brakes, I was like, this is going to be complicated if I try to pass. But I come up behind him, and as soon as I make the corner exit, I start doing the math in my head, and I'm like, Gary's right in the middle, and I know he's going to enter on the bottom, but I don't want to go carrying this full head of steam with no brakes and try to get him on the top. And I also didn't know if there was anybody coming behind me. I didn't want to park it on. I couldn't hear, you just Callahan, it's a short jump. So I thought, well, it's decision time. I mean, this, how it happens. It's all extremely quick. Well, I decided, I'm going to split him on the bottom. I'm going to have to back this car in the corner. I was like, if I catch him by the flag stand, that'll give me enough time to get the car turned around and hopefully start to generate enough wheel speed in the other direction by the time the car gets. So anyway, this is all going on. I mean, almost instantaneously. I look at the straightaway, one eye, and I'm like, go bottom. And when I shot underneath him, it was so close that, I get to the other end and I'm like, that was ridiculously dumb. And I had the car turned far enough around backwards that I could see that there was nobody there. So it was totally idiotic to even try. But I didn't get to talk to him after until he came driving up in his trailer. and he could have used some Mountain Ops undies, because we had the discussion of neither of us knew how that was going to end. And it just happened to be that I cleared him, but it had to be by a few inches. And the closing rate was extremely high. So he let me know that he was going to go home and change everything. Because,
good for Gary. They do have a couple underwear options. I think they're merino mainly for cold outdoor uses. But hey, go check it out, buddy. We'll 20% off. Kudos to Blair.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get our face on them or something. They'll be skimpy. So
there you go, buddy.
You could parade them around the house or in the trailer.
Yeah,
that was kind of funny.
If Blair throughout the season makes drivers drop a load in their drawers, we'll try to make it right via Mountain Ops there.
I try not to do that kind of stuff, but I was like, oh, those split-second decisions, sometimes I'm like, oh, that was a dumb one when it's not running well. And, if the car's planning, it's going to stick. But, yeah, I probably actually ended up entering the corner about 30 yards before I really wanted to, just spinning around backwards and hope the tires hook it up.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering where you were going with that conversation for a while until you. Okay, now I got it.
Yeah, we always have a good time, and they usually like last year they fed us pulled pork. I was like, I'm not even gonna go ask tonight.
Yeah, no, you don't deserve pulled pork.
Being an idiot.
Yeah. All right. Well,
the best.
Before our underwear story, there, we did have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 classes, or at least those are the winners that are posted. So won't get into that conversation, but from the top, the ASCS sprint car winner, the 5D of Adam Trimble, just going left to right here on the photo. Stock car Laney Bellum, the 600s Chance Olstrom, Sport Mod Stan Tomlinson, Compact James Embry Dwarf, alumni from the trade show, Mr. Billy Taylor, the Dwarfs there, Warriors, Brandon Duvall, Junior Warrior. You know what? I have never been able to say the last name right, and I do apologize to someone that hopefully is watching. But anyways, his son Lucas, and I'm not even gonna. Is it I don't know. Jordan, you're going to have to tell me, buddy, if you're watching. Anyways, his son, Lucas, won the Junior Warrior, and his other son, Mr. Brayson Siegel, who I had the pleasure of racing against 2023, won the Hobby Stock feature. So congratulations to all your winners, El Paso County. Again, we'll try to shout out random tracks or whatever track maybe, ran that weekend previous to a podcast episode. So congrats to your winners there. Cool to see some alumni. I didn't mention Adam Trimble, obviously, is alumni too. So I did want to
on here, except for me, but I've got one under my belt now, so I can.
You do, yeah. We're all winners. Everybody's winners.
A few seconds. So I'm kind of like a second place Steve. We might put that as my new title under here.
Second place Steve. Okay, there you go. Hamilton Motorsports wants to know: did you get your diaper rash cream from?
Yeah. Well, that's what you're talking about. You know what? I actually got in an argument last year. There were some people I melted that last rotor, which we figured out that diagnosis was easy. The rotor got so big that it actually scored the caliper, and then it wouldn't let the pad retract. But anyway, long story short, I kept telling people, I'm like, there's 2 different things you can feel from heat in that car. Generally not the motor. So this weekend, that rotor was literally so hot it looked like the sun, I guess, from behind me, which I knew because I was telling people I can feel that in my butt. Like it's
I'm sure you can.
So hot, I'm tan on my cheeks. So through the suit and everything, I'm like, that thing for 15 laps is, it has to be around, to melt stainless steel has to be around 2,000 degrees to be that yellow. And if you see the rotor after, I'll post some pictures on our page.
I was going to say at that point, it's probably white.
Yeah, it crushed the veins in between the 2 rotors. So
the rotor, not your butt, for clarification.
Yeah. Yeah. So both glowing, but that's one thing. If you run it long enough, you're gonna feel it in your butt. And I heard a bunch of people tell me I was full of shit last year, and I was kind of like, okay, you go. I'll put you in it. It's like the microwave back there. And the other thing you can feel that I never would have thought about is like when we were in Black Hills, it's a half mile, and we ran 15 laps, I think, or maybe 12 or something like that. And it was like record temperature up there. The torque tube between my legs was absolutely just roasting my ankles. I had to make sure I pull my suit down under red. When we got under red, I was like, and it was normal, but I was like, man, that thing is smoking
hot. Just to even do that, there's not a lot of room to do that either.
Yeah, and your feet are right up against it, but people don't. I'm like, what do you mean you don't believe it? I don't care. But yeah, I thought that was funny. Yeah. Some things I learned in the seat that you never would think about. It's so funny to watch a race car, and it just looks kind of like they're going around and stuff. But from the visor, it's a lot different than I ever expected when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it was the last it was either second to last race or the last race at El Paso last year, and you had a similar problem. And I'm just like, I think I was in that little bleachers there before the big bleachers coming out of 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know who I was standing next to, and they're like, "Oh my God, that car's on fire!" I was like, "Nah, he's fine. It's normal.
It's just
Sparks, just yeah,
melting the rotor."
We're like, they're going to throw caution. I'm like, no, he's fine. Just pretending like it's all good. But
you know what's funny is I never had a problem with steel brakes. It's like I started cutting weight off that thing, and then I went a whole season, and then the last 3 races, and now obviously, so
your wife's comments tonight are.
She's
sprint car seat, toilet seat, both places is where Blair does his best thing.
Yeah,
not
actually not true. So yeah.
Oh, anyways, I off the cuff did want to bring up something, and I obviously still an avid NASCAR fan. I've been hearing a lot of conversations about Mr. Cletus McFarland and his kind of uproaring through the series, and I kind of wanted to bounce a question off you, Blair.
Sure.
Since we're kind of unscripted tonight, but what is your thought process of a similar approach if, there is no actual like rule of, okay, you got to start out in a micro or even less, a lightning sprint or a 600, and then migrate your way up to an actual sprint car. But in terms of your opinion, if we're using the Cletus McFarland example, what do you think if you have, just this hot shoe coming up the ranks, like probably for comparison, you'd probably have to compare him to like a Corey Day or previously before that, like a Kyle Larson, which he's kind of a unicorn, but similar type of person. Would your opinion be that they have to start in a lower class, or if they do so well in maybe a year of 600s or something, or a midget or something, they can just go full blown World of Outlaw high limit? I guess what say you on that?
Man, it's complicated because it's hard to judge. So even at like a local event, you may have guys that you would consider maybe like, in different classes. Let's just say it's a modified. You may have guys that are varsity level football players. You may have guys that are D1 college players. And then you could have up to a Pro Bowl, Super Bowl level player. And they're all in the same place because it's not physically like a football game. So that for one right there makes it complicated. Then you add the age factor to where a lot of these kids are talented enough to be put in a car and they can perform. Where I always struggle, and it's always case by case basis, but generally my concern is the limitations of understanding consequences. So I think that's why you see, we've talked about this before. Rick Lowry and I actually have. He said that's why they send 18-year-olds to war and they put them in sprint cars, or they try to, because you remember being that age. If you haven't been that age yet, it's coming to where you feel invincible, indestructible. There's also sometimes there's different levels of kids getting into their coordination. So it's really difficult, and I don't know what the right answer is. We've thought about it a lot. I've raced with a lot of young kids that were maybe 14 years old, and they handled themselves professionally like an adult. You wouldn't know that they're that age being in the car. But sometimes I wonder if they killed a guy, maimed a guy, when the prefrontal cortex and, all that system isn't completely developed, if that could actually ruin the rest of their life. If handling those consequences, if they actually even understand what that truly means. I don't think I understood it at that age. I feel like I could have driven a car, even a high performance car. So I do think getting experience in lower classes is good, and that's generally how it's done. But when it's time to actually make the transition that's why it's so open to interpretation, different places you go. I do think that should be also on the onus of the parents to understand if their kid's ready. Not because you want them to be there, but because they belong there. And you really think they have a legitimate shot of either being a professional, because otherwise I don't know why you would try to start them at such a high risk, like a sprint car or midget. Even like midgets they're dangerous. Anything open. I mean, all cars, honestly, like how they're going to act if they get knocked out and get in a fire. I don't know. For me, if it was my kids, I'd probably try to keep them advancing along the way but some parents haven't been in the car either. That's another thing. So yeah, it's a really good question.
So on the contrary, like a Cletus deal, obviously he's my age, 34, 35, whatever he is.
Mm-hmm.
If I were, well, yeah, let's just use that example. Obviously, not apples to apples, but Cletus, has his drag racing and his Crown Vics and all that. So he has some racing experience, not to that level, but
Mm-hmm.
let's change it to dirt now. So if I were to go, obviously have a little bit of dirt experience, tiny bit of asphalt experience,
Mm-hmm.
but if I were to just go get in a full-fledged sprint car and, let's say, comparing it a little bit to apples there, say I just run into a bunch of money, I'm going to go high limit sprint car racing. Jumping in there, would high limit have a problem with, saying, okay, what's your background? Do I need to do a couple test sessions, or are they just going to let, a middle-aged man, 33, 34, 35 years old, jump in one of these war machines and, just, is there, I don't think in dirt at the two highest levels of sprint car racing, there is any roadblocks that I'm aware of to say, you need this, and this as qualifications. Like that's kind of a hot commodity. It seems like in the motorsports world right now, just either on the young side or older people coming in. I say old, middle-aged people coming in that still don't have the experience. So it's kind of same, either younger or usually the younger guys have more driving experience because they've gone up through go-karts and whatever. But yeah, it's I guess what's your thoughts on that from a reverse of being too young or being old?
Yeah, it is funny. I know Donnie Schatz back in the day, I can't remember the exact quote, but he said this is one of the only places where if you're talking shit in the stands, you can come down, pay the money, build a car, and you can come race me. It's like it's the barrier to entry is high. I mean, these cars it's not probably an every person thing, but realistically, if you want to do it, you could build one and you could do it. I think probably the best barrier to entry at a place like that is they qualify single car qualifying. And I would imagine that they
break
have
the men from the boys there.
Yeah, if you, man, I don't think you're going to make the show, So the only thing is you could really probably do some damage in hot laps, maybe. So, I don't know how many cars you could wipe out or hurt yourself. But that's a possibility. So it is kind of unique. It's unique in that sense of like, go buy a car and buy a ticket, take the ride. But also, you're not gonna make the show. I've had guys ask me, and it's so funny, that from like being on the pit side or the stand side, there's a major disconnect from what people think it is. And I've had people tell me like, oh, you were really fast, you've had really good nights, and they're like, God, this guy's slow. I'm sure they're just like, this guy's slow. It's like, well, we finished 7th and we were 3/10 off, like 3/10 on the stopwatch. Go click that off and see what that is. It's just compounding, right?
Right.
So most
lap
guys,
after lap.
it's most guys are in the ballpark. When you see somebody way off, I think sometimes the track should step in. I know on asphalt they used to do that. They had a minimum speed requirement, which I'm sure the high limit would tell you if you pull out there and you're a danger, they're gonna be like, dude, go pack it in, go run some local shows and practice or get a different class. But I would imagine that it's to their discretion. And if you're a disaster, if I've seen a couple cars that were 4 seconds off at high limit. There were a local guy, and I imagine I would think they'd have a chat with him. Otherwise, they just collect their pit money and are like, well, they're not going to, stay on the bottom. And
at some point it's a safety thing. And also like that big of a show being broadcasted on Flow, you don't want to make an ass of yourself, Brad Sweet, Kyle Larson. So it's an interesting thing. That's kind of, like Cletus, and, you always hear about it on the younger side. Like, I think back in, testing my knowledge here, 2005, maybe Kyle Busch was the first that they're like, hey, you're progressing way too fast. Like we cannot put you in a cup car. Like you have to turn whatever it was, 16 at the time. And that obviously started the precedence, but like you got the Keelan Harvicks and the Brexton Bushes and all those guys hell, even Chase Elliott, I think he was in a super late model at 14 years old, which is not the same as a O'Reilly car or cup car, but still. But now it's just kind of this opposite spectrum of these guys that are influencers or
I wasn't thinking about it that way because I kind of missed what you were asking. But
no, I didn't tee it up well enough, I guess.
NASCAR seems like that's kind of the direction it's been headed in a long time. I think it's gotten more exposure because you have famous influencers types that are jumping in. I mean, even Pastrana had said a cup car was the hardest thing he'd ever driven at the time. I mean, what would
Ricky
you
Carmichael, like 10
Yeah.
years ago, same thing.
Yeah, Juan Pablo Montoya. I mean, coming from a Formula ride to having real struggles,
Stock car,
and is considered an absolute wheelman in any other form of racing, basically. But yeah, that makes it tough. But it seems like that's the direction. I'm sure they're allowing it for one because they need the eyeballs.
Oh, 100%.
You know, I think that's probably good for them. The drivers that have paid their dues and actually gotten there probably hate it. But who, you know, I mean, it's not like Cletus or the guys like that haven't raced either. It's not like he's just coming in off the street. I mean, he's got a 5,000 horsepower, pro mod and the boats and cars and drift cars. So it's not like I would say he's inexperienced. To me, racing's racing. But I would say also that like super speedway stuff and everything, you should probably be required to test and meet some sort of requirement. I think it like that truck race, he just got loose and destroyed. I mean, but there was a lot of guys that did that have been there, you know, and
I mean, he's catching a lot of grief. I don't
Sure.
think because of who he is or him specifically, but it's just, and I also look at it as too, like you see, you know, obviously in talking about NASCAR, staying on that topic, you see the Kyle Larsons, the Christopher Bells, the Tyler Reddicks, those guys that cut their teeth in dirt, still going back to it, obviously racing as much as they can. And now you got, I mean, there was a year, you know, going back to Chase Elliott where he tried midget racing. He went to the Chili Bowl, had a disastrous, I mean, he probably put up 20 flip counts on the flip counter that week. But you got Ty Gibbs going over to that side now, and like other drivers are starting to kind of do that. And it's kind of the same thing. Like, yes, you race the highest level of asphalt motorsports in the world week in, week out, but you're not used to the dirt. And sometimes they go out there and make a fool of themselves, and sometimes they don't. But like Ty Gibbs, for example, like, damn, that guy's trying, but man, he just keeps, you know, I feel bad for Chad Boat because he just keeps junking those cars. And it's kind of the same thing.
Chad Boat's getting paid.
Well, that's true. But yeah, it's kind of the just an interesting topic that maybe
and we got Gary commented on here, and we'll have to maybe get some clarification from Gary. Let's see if we can show it on the screen for those that are watching. He said, I had tons of asphalt experience and very little dirt experience before I started a sprint car at 55. He meant 50 years old. He's not that old. He says, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Definitely better to start as young as possible, though. But I also would say, Gary didn't start at 50 years old. I mean, the dirt to asphalt, asphalt to dirt thing is a transition, but I'm sure, Gary, I mean, you've been racing a long time, so maybe we get, you know, I don't think that like the sprint car or a cup car or anything is specifically, it's just seat time, you know. That was even like me. I wanted to go straight to a sprint car, but I hadn't had any dirt experience, so we went the lightning sprint route. I figured that was cheaper than tearing up a midget or, you know, I mean, or a sprint, even a 305. It's like, you know, and you're racing with a bunch of different experience levels. There's guys that have been in that class for 25, 30 years, and there were guys that were brand new rookies. So I think that goes for anything, but yeah, it is a good question. I really don't know the answer.
I don't think they have maybe they do. I haven't obviously read the High Limit or World of Outlaw, you know, rule book or handbook, but maybe to your point, it's a discretion thing. If, you know, you're, you know, Tom Cruise, Days of Thunder coming in on your Harley and you got a helmet bag and you look the part and you go out there in hot laps and they might ask you to politely leave.
Yeah. Can you bring the funding is kind of the problem. And I think that's why there's controversy is it's like, it's not really a system of cream rises to the top and goes through the ranks. It's like, you can just buy your way there. And that's what I really think pisses people off. I mean, but we see it in sprint cars too. I mean,
it's less prevalent though. Like you have to kind of be able to drive. Like NASCAR, you can kind of hide in 20th, 25th place. And as long as you're not making noise back there in a bad way, like no one's going to care. But it's and that's why I kind of like what Dale Jr. has been doing over the past 10 years is taking these late model stock guys that have just won numerous track championships and saying, hey, I'm going to give you a ride at Martinsville, and this is your time to either shine or, you know, whatever. And it's worked out for Josh Berry's and, you know, those type of people. But yeah, it's just an interesting point that I just kind of was thinking about kind of the last couple of weeks. Like, man, I don't think dirt has anything like that. You don't hear about it, you know, but I'm sure it's happened in the past where they're like, yeah, buddy, we hear you and we see you and you have all this money, but not tonight.
Yeah. Well, and it's weird too, because like if you're a regional guy with who's to say like they're not going to go and research you. Like if you show up
No.
with the car, it's like you go out there. But I do think qualifying's probably like the meal ticket or being 6 seconds off if they think it's like the car's fine. This guy's, probably let's go get some laps somewhere else, fella.
Sure. Yeah. Tupac song, All Eyes on Me.
Yeah. Sometimes I try to hide and it's like, oh man, and you may be, if you're 6/10 off, it's like you might as well just pack it up and go home. I mean, you get that on some of these tracks. So
Zach Merritt coming in clutch. Neither 410 series have a formal requirement for experience. They do have provisions to send you home if you're not doing too good.
Nice. Well, we were
spot on.
In that.
Thanks, Zach.
Zach has literally given me a plethora of information today between helping with engine stuff to look at too. So shout out, Zach. I appreciate it. And sorry I made you hop the infield tire. I did about bound him up, and he said it wasn't. I know it was my fault, but on that start when I told you everybody, I balled them all up, and I saw his front end straight up in
tons of friends out there week one.
Oh man,
hell of a way to start, buddy.
Now Zach's cool, so I appreciate it. But
Yeah. So I did want to, we tried to do this last year a little bit, kind of fell off, but we are going to ramp up our mailbag. Don't have a fancy name for it. I'm sure we can come up with one, but we have a Google Forms link. You can drop a comment, question, whatever you want to say realistically. Obviously, if it's a little bit R-rated or something, we may not get you on the show, but we do want to hear from you. Obviously, your engagement, like you guys are, and Tara's actually posting actual rules from the rule book.
She's got no life. You can tell. This is what happens when you're married to me. Sorry.
Yeah. You guys got the rule book printed on your wall there. But anyways, the mailbag, we are going to introduce that again. We kindly ask, we want to hear from you guys. We want to engage. Obviously, the comments every Monday night are fantastic, and we really have a lot of fun with you guys, just like we have tonight. But we're going to give you the opportunity to write whatever you want. You can remain anonymous if you want, but questions, comments, obviously we're looking for engagement kind of on a different form. And, if you have good questions, we'll pull them up on the show. If you have good comments, we'll pull them up on the show, stuff like that. So you'll start to see that link start to circulate here on the Facebook page, Instagram pages, stuff like that. So feel free, day or night, whenever is convenient for you, just click that link. It's free. You don't have to do anything other than type whatever you want to say, and it'll go straight to Blair and I, and we'll see it and try to get some engagement there. So we're really going to drive that home this season. So sorry to bug you guys if you keep seeing a Google Form link, but that's what it's about. So did want to push that, and I think that's all we had for tonight.
Yeah,
it's good season opener.
Yeah, well, and I just have to say thanks to everybody that helped me. It was even like Zach. It is funny. I miss, that's part of the things that we all miss in the off season is just the camaraderie and the people you're around. But this weekend I worked from the time we showed. I even pulled the rear gear to check if the rear end was hurt. So Brett was under there getting stinky and sticky, and Tara got gear oil on her hands, which I thought was going to end in divorce because that's her least favorite thing in the world. She was holding her nose. But so all the people that helped me out, I appreciate you guys. And, it's like a big family. So that part of it's cool. And it's funny that, I go through the winter and get fat and just work and try to do everything and get everything right. And then you get to go out, and it's funny because racing, I don't know, you played football at a pretty high level. So it's like, it's the same thing. You get that, you're humbled very quickly. I start out very confident and like, damn, I'm, it's time to go, baby. And then it's like, oh shit, put your head down and so it's humbling, but also pretty grateful to see everybody again. And just, it's also a big part of it. So as much as I love driving the car, that only lasts about 15-20 minutes. And then, but the friendships and everything, that's all not to be bringing this show down, but even you and me. So it's a lot of fun. I really appreciate everybody.
It goes by so quick. Yeah. It's like you got into race season, then you got Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then basically we're back. So and I was glad we were invited again to the swap show. Hopefully you guys check that one out. If you didn't, it's on both pages, YouTube, Facebook, or you can go on wherever you get your podcasts, and it's on there. I think we did 2 episodes that day. Didn't plug Tara that day. We ended the show, or she ended the show on the computer, and I was like, I feel like a jackwagon, but she was an integral part of the team that day, because Blair and I are obviously not behind the computer during that to give you guys the content. So she was running all the buttons. So shout out to Tara for that day and everything she helps us do. So a lot of people helped this go around. Again, thank you to Mark and Samantha Hamilton Motorsports, Hoosier of the Rockies, a new partner this year. So as we always say, support those who support racing, and that's exactly what they do. They're literally right in the thick of it, elbows to elbows with you guys at the track. So, if you are getting your parts and you're sourcing them out of state or not locally, definitely give them the opportunity to, price match, do all that stuff.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to get it quicker, more than likely, because they're wholesale dealers of a lot of different things. We try to capture most of it in the ad there for them, but have a lot of parts, obviously tires, fuel. So definitely go hit them up. They'll appreciate your support just as much as we do for the show. So anyway, as Blair said, yeah, back in the thick of it. So set your calendars and your reminders. We'll be back again every Monday, 7:30 Mountain, unless there's some kind of crazy holiday or Blair's running double duty and can't see straight or whatever. Then we'll maybe take a week off. But try to get some good guests locally, nationally, whatever the case, here in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, that's about all I got to say.
Yeah, it's good to see you too, Danny. It was good to see him out. I know he's battling some illness this winter. Had a long, rough winter. A lot of stuff going on. So I was really glad to see him. He pushes me out, and I'm a favorite. So everybody that we got to see, I know Adam Romero came out. It was good to see a lot of my T-shirts around there. In fact, I need to get some new ones, but we've just been too busy. So wanted to get the car wrapped. So anybody that wants T-shirts, we'll have them pretty soon. I know a few people ask me, so appreciate all that. And yeah, it's been fun. I'm glad we're back. It feels. Even though it adds what takes one day away, we always talk about that one day off from the car. I really just enjoy it. It's a good time to unwind and talk with friends about racing. So appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you all for tuning in tonight. It was a pretty good showing from what it looks like on the front end here. So appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to us yap for about an hour now. So we'll give you back your rest of your Monday night, and everybody have a safe week. And if you're racing this weekend, keep it rubber side down and keep throwing those sliders. Later. This was another production of Scrubbin' Tires Media. The Throwin Sliders podcast is hosted by Blair Cooper and Brandon Hall. Video and audio was created by Bryce Holcomb. Please like, share, and leave a 5-star review. And as always, keep throwing those sliders.